Um, so I'm just going to go over the outline a little bit for you. I know we discussed it in class, but if you're a little confused about outlining, that's okay. I'm just going to walk you through it again. You can use this simplified outline, but if you're looking at that, like, I don't really know what all that means, skip it. Go to the second one, which is really for the introduction. I just wrote out what you should be addressing in those little points. You can combine them if you want. So, for instance, like your introduction of topic and reason to listen and credibility statement. For this one, they might go together, or you might end up skipping one instead of um, going into something that sounds that doesn't sound genuine. So, I would probably talk about how you may know blank Trevor, let's say. You may know Trevor already, but there's probably a good deal that you don't know about him. So I'm going to get into some of the specifics and I'm going to walk you through it a little bit. I've been talking to him in class for the last couple weeks, and although we've been friends for 8 years, I actually ended up learning a lot more about him through this. And then I would talk about first, second, third. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about his hobbies, about his family, and about his future goals. Let's say. I don't remember if those are my main points, but that's your introduction. And then this is where it gets a little bit complicated. So you're going to transition here into the main points, and then you're going to start with your topic sentence. So, what is your main point? What are you going to discuss? You want to tell people what you're going to tell them, especially when you're talking verbally. You want to have that repeated element so people, one, can follow along with you, and two, it helps them remember what you actually talked about. I'm sure you've been in class when somebody, let's say, like a teacher is telling you, is lecturing, and then at the end of it, you're like, what did we talk about again? And a lot of times that's why when you look at lessons, they're designed to say, like, this is what we're going to do today. Maybe you kind of start with a do now, start with something like that, and then sum it up at the end, because you want to really go back and say, look, just a reminder, this is what we did today. What did you learn from it? Right. And so you're going to do that same thing in your speech. So once you have this sort of outline, then you say, okay, or this kind of base, then you go into one of the details about that. And you can see here, if I was going to kind of briefly say, what are his hobbies? I could look right at the outline where it says A, B, and C and say, okay, curling, basketball, and theater. Those are the three things I'm going to talk about. Right. And then you notice it goes a step further towards the right and it gets even more detailed. So if I wanted to say, okay, well, tell me a little bit about his curling, all this right here would be the details. Tell me a little bit about basketball. Everything that has to do with basketball should be to the right of it, right? It's kind of describing. And one of the ways, or one of the reasons why we do this, is because you can look at your outline, just kind of scanning it, and realize, where am I missing some details, right? Or what am I talking about? The bulk of my paper, right, or the bulk of my main point three, it's pretty spread out, right? But there might be other ones where I'm talking a lot about these vacations. I'm barely talking about how he lives with his mother, father, sister, and grandma. Is there more to say about that? Maybe, but I'm not choosing to focus on it. So it's something I'm going to mention and then I'm going to move on. But mostly I'm going to be talking about his vacations, specifically his vacation to Pennsylvania, and spending time with his families at night and on the weekends. Even actually, this maybe should go in here now that I'm looking at it again, right? If we're talking about how he spends time with his family at home, it really shouldn't be under vacation. So I'm actually going to change that right now and put it under what they do together, right? So what are he lives with them, and when he's living with them, right, they mostly spend time together on the nights and weekends. And what do? They watch the Food Network. They watch Better Call Saul, right? They mostly watch TV. And then they often take vacations together. It's unrelated to him spending time with his family at home. I hope that helps clarify a little bit about how you should structure that outline, but don't hesitate to come see me if you're struggling with it, or to even say, I think I outlined right, but could you look over my first main point and see if you would have any suggestions? And that's it.